Last year I paid a virtual assistant $47,000 to manage my calendar, respond to routine emails, process invoices, update my CRM, and handle about a dozen other tasks that kept my business running. This year that position no longer exists. Not because I found someone cheaper overseas. Not because I scaled back my operations. The job disappeared because I built 17 automations in Make.com that now run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they do not take sick days, they do not miss details, and they cost me less than $300 a month combined. Welcome back to Zero Index. What I am about to walk you through is not a productivity hack or a clever way to save a few hours. This is a fundamental shift in what it means to run a business, and there is a reason I waited almost a full year before making this video. I needed to know if the system would actually hold. I needed to stress test it against real chaos, tax season, a product launch, a week where I got 300 emails a day. And there is one automation in particular that took me 4 months to get right, but when I finally did, it changed how I think about work entirely. I will get to that one. First I need to explain why I had a virtual assistant in the first place, because most people get this wrong. The popular narrative is that you hire help because you are too busy. That is only half true. The real reason is that certain tasks create what I call dependency chains. One thing cannot happen until another thing happens, and if that second thing lives in someone else's brain, you have created a bottleneck that follows you everywhere. My VA was excellent. Her name was Sarah, she worked out of Portland, and she had been with me for 3 years. But here is what I started noticing in 2023. Every time I had a new idea or wanted to move fast on something, there was this invisible friction. Not because Sarah was slow. Because I had to context switch, write out instructions, wait for her time zone to align with mine, answer clarifying questions, review the output, and then often do a second pass myself anyway. I ran the numbers in January of last year. On average I was spending 11 hours per week either briefing Sarah, reviewing her work, or handling things myself because she was asleep or on vacation. 11 hours. That is more than a full workday every single week spent on coordination overhead. And here is the part that actually made me uncomfortable. When I looked at the tasks themselves, the actual work being done, most of it was not creative. It was not judgment heavy. It was pattern recognition and data transfer. Take information from location A, apply a simple rule, put it in location B. Over and over. That is when I started building. The first thing I replaced was calendar scheduling, and I want to be precise about this because most people think they have already solved this problem with Calendly. They have not. Calendly handles inbound requests. But what about outbound? What about when I need to schedule a call with someone who does not use scheduling software? What about when a call gets rescheduled and I need to notify 3 other people whose meetings just shifted? What about when someone asks for a call via email and I need to check availability across 2 different calendars before responding? I built an automation in Make.com that watches my email for scheduling related messages using keyword triggers. When it detects someone asking about availability, it pulls my calendar data, generates 3 time options based on my preferences, I hate morning calls, drafts a response in my voice using a custom GPT prompt I trained on 2 years of my actual emails, and drops it into my inbox as a draft. I review it in about 8 seconds and hit send. The entire round trip from someone emailing me to them receiving options takes under 90 seconds. It used to take Sarah anywhere from 2 hours to a full day depending on her workload. But here is what surprised me. The automation started surfacing patterns I never noticed. It keeps a log of every scheduling interaction, and after 3 months I could see that Tuesday afternoons had a 40% higher no-show rate than Thursday mornings. I adjusted my availability. My completed call rate went up by 22%. Sarah was great. But she was not logging metadata about every interaction and running statistical analysis on it. No human would. The machine does it automatically because that is just what happens when everything flows through a structured system. Let me tell you about the automation that saved me the most money. Not time, money. I have multiple income streams. Consulting, sponsorships, affiliate revenue, a small SaaS product. Every month there are between 15 and 40 invoices that need to go out. Sarah handled this, and she was careful. But last March I discovered we had been undercharging a client by $400 per month for 7 months. That is $2,800 that just vanished because of a spreadsheet formula that referenced the wrong cell. Human error. It happens. But I realized the entire invoicing process was built on a foundation of human attention, and human attention is expensive and unreliable. Here is how the new system works. When a project completes or a billing trigger fires in my project management tool, Make.com pulls the relevant data, cross-references it against the rate card I have stored in Airtable, calculates the invoice amount including any modifiers for rush work or scope changes, generates the invoice in my accounting software, sends it to the client, and logs everything to a financial dashboard I check once a week. I do not touch it. I do not review it. Because the automation cannot reference the wrong cell. It references a structured database where every rate is tied to a specific client and project type. If the rate changes, I update one field, and every future invoice is correct automatically. In the 9 months since I deployed this system, invoicing errors have dropped to 0. Literally 0. And I discovered we had been leaving money on the table in ways I never would have caught manually, late fees we were not charging, early payment discounts we were offering but not tracking. The system does not forget rules. It does not get tired on Friday afternoon. Now I need to talk about the automation that took me 4 months to build, because this is the one most people ask about and it is also the one that made me realize something uncomfortable about my own work. I receive between 150 and 300 emails per day. Before the automation, Sarah would go through them every morning and afternoon, flag the important ones, draft responses to the routine ones, and archive the junk. She was good at it. But there was always a delay, and there were always edge cases she was not sure about. I tried to automate this with simple rules and it failed immediately. Email is messy. The same person might send me something urgent one day and something trivial the next. Subject lines lie. Priority markers are useless. What finally worked was building a multi-stage classification system in Make.com that uses Claude to analyze each email across 4 dimensions. Urgency, which is how time-sensitive is this. Importance, which is how much does this affect business outcomes. Relationship value, which is who is this person to me. And action type, which is does this need a response, a task, a calendar event, or just awareness. The AI assigns scores, and based on those scores the email gets routed to one of 7 different workflows. Truly urgent items ping my phone. Important but not urgent items go to a digest I read every morning. Requests that can be handled automatically, meeting scheduling, standard questions about my services, requests for my media kit, get drafted responses. Everything else gets archived with tags so I can search later if needed. Here is the uncomfortable realization. After running this for 2 months, I discovered that I had been spending roughly 3 hours per day on email that did not actually require my involvement. 3 hours. Every day. For years. The machine did not just replace Sarah. It revealed how much of my own time had been leaking into low-value communication that felt important because it was in my inbox. I want to be honest here because this is where it gets strange. The CRM automation I built does something that feels almost too personal to delegate to a machine. Every time I meet someone new, whether at a conference, on a podcast, or just over email, the system creates a contact record and starts tracking interactions. That part is standard. But it also monitors public signals about that person, job changes on LinkedIn, company news, funding announcements, and when something significant happens, it drafts a personalized outreach message for me to review. Last month it flagged that someone I had coffee with 2 years ago had just been promoted to VP of product at a company that would be a perfect sponsor for this channel. I would never have noticed that on my own. The automation surfaced it, wrote a congratulations message that referenced our previous conversation, which it pulled from my notes database, and suggested a soft pitch angle. I sent a slightly modified version of that message. We are now in contract discussions for a 6-month sponsorship. Sarah could not have done this. Not because she was not capable, but because the task requires monitoring hundreds of people continuously across multiple platforms and cross-referencing that data against my business priorities in real time. That is not a human-scale task. It is a machine-scale task. Let me give you the real numbers because I think this matters. My Make.com subscription is $42 per month. I am on the core plan with additional operations because some of my automations run high volume. I use Claude through the API for the email triage and CRM personalization, which costs roughly $80 per month at my current volume. Airtable, where I store the structured data, is $20 per month. I have a few other supporting tools, a form builder, a document generator, a notification service, that add up to about $50 per month. Total operational cost is around $200 per month. Sarah cost me roughly $4,000 per month including taxes and the various software licenses she needed to do her job. That is a 95% reduction in cost for work that now runs faster, more accurately, and around the clock. But I want to be careful here because the savings are not the real point. The real point is that I got 11 hours per week back. That is 572 hours per year. I used some of that time to build this channel. I used some of it to launch a new product line. I used some of it to actually take vacations without worrying about whether my business was being handled. The leverage is not just financial. It is temporal. And time is the resource you cannot make more of. I know some of you are thinking about Sarah right now, and I think that is the right thing to be thinking about. I gave her 4 months' notice, which is more than any employer has ever given me. I helped her find her next role, which ended up being at a company that needed exactly her skill set but did not have the technical ability to build automations themselves. She actually makes more money now than she did working for me. But I would be lying if I said this story will end well for everyone. The work Sarah did for me is the same work that millions of people do. Administrative coordination. Data entry. Calendar management. Routine communication. These are not niche skills. They are foundational skills for a huge portion of the workforce. And here is what I keep coming back to. I built these automations in my spare time over about 6 months. I am not an engineer. I do not have a technical background. Make.com and tools like it are specifically designed so that people like me can build sophisticated systems without writing code. Which means the barrier to entry is dropping fast. The people who figure this out in the next 12 to 18 months will have a structural advantage over everyone who waits. Not because automation is some magic bullet, but because it converts money into time, and time is what you need to build things that compound. I promised to close the loop on why one automation took me 4 months to get right, and the answer is not technical. The email triage system was not hard to build from an engineering standpoint. It was hard to build because I had to confront what I actually valued. Every rule in that system is a decision about what matters to me. Every routing choice reflects a priority. When I could not get the automation to work, it was because I had not been honest with myself about what was actually important versus what I was telling myself was important. The machine forced clarity. It could not run on vague intentions. It needed explicit logic. And building that logic made me a better operator of my own life, not just my business. That is the part nobody talks about when they discuss automation. Yes, it saves time and money. But it also holds up a mirror. The process of building these systems taught me more about how I work than any productivity book ever has. If you have made it this far, here is what I want you to take away. You do not need to replace a virtual assistant. You might not even have one. But you almost certainly have tasks in your life that follow predictable patterns, and every one of those is a candidate for automation. Start with one. Pick the task that annoys.